introduce you to my teacher, Maia Ellis. I've known her since, well, I'm 60 this year, and I met her when I was 14 or 15. And we figured at the high school I went to in New York, the boys went out wearing regular sports outfits, jogging off to play soccer in the park, and I grew to appreciate male legs in those days. And the girls stayed around and did things that no one else did in New York, as far as I knew about, and certainly not any place else in the country. We did something that was hard to explain to anybody, and that was what I did with Maia Ellis, and I called her Madame Ellis in those days. And one day she invited me and a friend to her apartment. I'm not sure how that happened, but I went, and I appreciated something I'd never seen before. It was a wall covered with a fabric, and on it was her jewelry.
Oh yes, that's right.
Why would you put jewelry in little boxes in a drawer? There it was, and I admired a particular piece, and I I forgot. And she gave it to me, and ever since, whenever I wear it, somebody says, "That's beautiful." Maia was raised in Paris. Her parents are both from Russia, and she was brought there at age 11 to study and to become a ballerina by her mother. And then the mother and father promptly left her there with a Russian family, and left her there for 2 years, and went to the United States.
Disappeared in the United States.
Right. And so began her career of being alone at 11 with not such nice people, it seems. She went to school all day in the morning and started dance at 5 in the afternoon. Between 1922 and 1927, the family, she lived in what was then called Palestine. The family moved there, and in 27 she was brought to Paris. Right.
At 11, right. When I was 11. And I almost died on the boat, so evidently I wasn't meant to die.
No, never. No. The two older sisters stayed in Palestine. The eldest one, Deborah, became a doctor and a scientist and was the discoverer of the first autoimmune disease and lived in England. And the other one remained in what became Israel.
In Israel, yes.
Yes.
She lived in Israel.
So in their 30s at New York City, she changed her name. Oh, her name, I wrote that in the email to those who got it. Her father's name was Leo Nowitzki, and he changed his name to Abi Leah. Her name was Maia Leah. Abi is father of Abi, or my father, Abi Leah.
Maia Leah, Abi Leah,
yes, so that was her name.
Born.
Maia Leah, Abi Leah. And his brothers changed the name to that, and if you Google their name, you'll find really interesting people. And he was a musician and a concert pianist and a teacher, and he ended up, he's known for this tune, among other things. Right? That's a Passover.
That's his melody.
That's his melody, right.
That's your brother?
Her father. And so, arriving in New York City, she came with Betzalel Schatz, who was the son of Boris Schatz. Boris Schatz was the founder of the first art school in Israel.
And started the Betzalel Museum.
And that's where my eldest daughter went to school. Anyway, she came with him to the United States. He was an artist. And
a violinist. And a violinist. Lilik was a violinist and an artist. I mean, Betzalel.
Right. And she started teaching piano, her mother's method in her 30s in New York. And she changed her name from Maia Leah Abi Leah to Maia Leah Ellis. She took her mother's name.
Because I wanted to honor her, as it is her method that I'm teaching. And in France, in Paris, I mean, she had many disciples because many of her students became teachers of her method, but they went in other towns as well. But she was decorated by the Academy of Medicine for her work in Paris, and also by the city of Paris for her good work. helping humanity.
Her name was Fay, which means fairy.
Yes, very.
Fay. And she taught from 1932 to 1982. And before Maia was teaching this method, she was in fact dancing. She was with a Russian ballet,
The Basile.
the Basile company. And
Then I decided I don't want to teach dance. Dance is for professionals only, because it's not good for the body, but it's wonderful as an art. And gymnastic is good for people. And everyone should do 15 minutes every morning of their life on the floor. And now I will demonstrate. I just get my skirt up. Down. I have to go down in a funny way because I'm a slight cripple, but I'm not an obvious cripple. I had very, very bad knees because I was churned in the ocean when I was 30 and I stopped dancing because of it. And but I'm managing it with exercise. All right, I'll do it and I explain everything as I do it. It's very short. All right, the first thing you do is you lock your hands like this. You cannot undo them. And the reason for that is so that you will always be supple and not like that. You don't want to be like that ever, because everything you do is directed by your brain. And the reason I take my sock off is because I do a lot of spreading the toes, like that. Now, I can't do it with my left foot because I've had an accident and it's slightly paralyzed. So I can do it with my right foot, but I can't do it with my left foot. But it doesn't matter because I still move it all the time. So you start by bringing your knees to your chest every morning and relaxing. Those are the 4 exercises that you have to do every day. From the Rusk Institute of Rehabilitation in New York. And so you bring, oh yes, I forgot to tell you that one of the most important things is the muscle, the rhomboids, which is right here, where you tie your bra. It's right here, and it is the muscle of the shoulder blades. And so with your brain, not with your body, you make the contraction by just thinking and doing it, and without moving the body at all. So when you exercise on the floor, this is what you think, the rhomboid contraction, for almost everything. And so you go like this. I must not be too long on it because I want to teach you also those 4 exercises. But you know you hold it. And then the breathing is important. So you inhale and you exhale. Now rhomboids, you see, well, elbows are free, chin is slightly in, and your rhomboids are contracted. So you do that for a few, 1-2 minutes, and then you do the breathing, inhale, put your elbows on the floor and the back of your hand. It's not as easy as it looks, because unless you do it often. And then you exhale, pushing the small of the back down. Now you do number 2. One knee. You bring it to your forehead and you count. You don't do the rhomboid now because you're leaning forward. And you count 20. Oh, 10. Sorry, 10. The first one is 10. And then you place the foot next to, and again you do the breathing. And then you do 10. You make a fan with your foot. And take a deep breath. Now you do it 4 times, but we're only doing it 12 times until I teach you. And now we do number 3. You anchor your knee against your chest, and you raise your foot 90 degrees if possible, but if not, you do less. But at first, it's hard to do 90 degrees because it pulls. So you do a little less, but you have to stretch the knee. You cannot go like that and go 90. So you have to stretch the knee. So you concentrate on the knee, and like a juggler, you go with your ankle, 10 to one side and 10 to the other. And then, and I'll do the other side, quickly. And remember, rhomboids, elbows free, and chin slightly in. Not like that, never like that. You don't want to squeeze in here. We do it enough in living. You have to bring your chin. And then 10, and then 10. All right? And then we do the breathing. And then exhale, push against this foot, and push the small of the back down. And now we do number 4. Number 3.
No.
Sorry. Let me see. 1 is like that. 2 is this. 3 is like that. And then 4 is this one. You anchor your knee to you, elbows free, chin in. You stretch the other leg to the floor, and you push the back of the stretched knee down. You push it as hard as you can, and you raise your toes. That helps you to push it. And you count 20. And you can do anything you want with a free foot. But you count 20, and this you will write down, and then we'll write on the board and when we do it. And then I do it the other side. See, anchor this, stretch the leg, put your toes out, and make sure your elbows are free. With your rhomboids, you count 20. And then you breathe. And then you push against the foot that is bent, and you bring your small of the back down. All right? This is number 4, right? Number 5 is sit-ups, which is not part of the 4, but it is part of the sit-ups and the stretching, which is the end. And you go massage, and 2, and 3, and 4. You do at least 10. No, just 10. But you can do 20 when you get very good. But remember to massage your legs. And then when you finish, take a deep breath, and you go to your toes, the little toes, and you pull them, and you hold them, and you breathe, and you hold those toes, and you push the back of your knees down. Take a deep breath, and then you take a deep breath, and then you go like that. And then you pull towards you the toes, the little toes, and you take a deep breath. And remember, you're not rounding your back, because you went forward from here. You didn't go forward from here. You went from here. So you went like this. And then like that. And then you go. Take your ankles in. And then you still have to do a few stretches, right? That's after doing the sit-ups. And then you have to go to one side. And then take a deep breath, and the other side. And that you do as many times as you want. And then you go center. Inhale. Always thinking of pulling your toes. And if you do that all your life, you'll never have any problems. when your feet when you're old. Never. Voila. And that is the most important exercises to do every day. You're doing your rhomboids, you're doing locking your hands, and I'll teach you those 4 for that. Then, if you have time, you do rhythmic exercises like this. Let's say 1, like that. You know, things like that. Or this is a very important one. Babies do that all day long in their cribs. And this is they do it instinctively to build their body. No one teaches them how to get to eventually walk. So this is what they do in their cribs, but they do it like that. They don't do it holding the knees. And holding the knees makes it an exercise, because then you work for the inside of your thigh. So this is what you have to do really every day of your life. And that's my mother's method. You see, it's rhythmic, and it is from watching infants in their cribs that she devised that. And then also raising the pelvis, not high, but counting 10, and then doing it several times, and then things like that. You see, all those things are very natural, are very easy, but they're also they feel good when you do it. And you must feel good when you exercise, and it should be pleasant and agreeable. And then you do the twist. You go knees to the right and head to the left. And then one foot on top of the foot, one knee up. And you can do it, and you see, not detach the shoulders or the elbows from the floor, not go to go like that. So don't go any more than you can do comfortably. Don't force, ever. Always do what feels good, and you will learn little by little to do it right, and you will enjoy it so much. You really will. I promise you. But you don't force. You don't want to reach before you're ready. And then when you have stretched, you have to do a straight exercise for your spine. And then you have to do this. Put it this way. This. And then you have to do one more for your abdominals, the lower abdominals. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. We do just a few. Okay. And so this is for the lower abdominals. And you've done this one, and you count, always count, like 10, 5, or 10, or for 20, whichever you want. But you must not go high. You must be tilted. You see, like that. You're not high, but you're tilted, and you're tightening your buttocks very hard, and you're pulling everything in, And so this is what you do, and you can invent your own. But I wanted mainly to show you the 4 exercises of the Ruskin Institute of Rehabilitation, because I cannot teach you the whole method. And then, when you're finished with that, you do try to get on the tummy if you have time. And then, this is important. And then you go right arm and left leg, and then left and right.
The head is not on the floor?
No, the head is in the same position. Don't raise the chin, but it's off the floor. And then you come like that. Every day you should do this. Sitting the way the Asians do. And the last one is this. This is called the snake. You go it's to fight sciatica, this one. 1, and 2, and then you're not holding, you see, you're not leaning on your hand, you're only leaning on your knees. And then head down, up, and then you do the cat. That's a very good stretch. You go forward, pushing your pelvis forward, and pulling your pelvis, and up, and then up. Very nice. You want to be limber and strong at the same time. And that's it. And then, because I don't have knees, I have to do it my way. And up. And then, you have to stretch. Voilà. So now, all those who want to learn the 5 exercises, we'll put the mattress, the thing like this, and I will teach you the 4 exercises. And I'll be in the middle.
This will energize you.
So put all your things here.
Maybe at least this little bit you could do as a file and figure it out. Yeah. Very funny. My son could do it for you now. Well, I think you have to do it.
Like, not wider than this, then we have time, room for everyone. They're scattered up and down. And take your shoes off.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see that you want to move. I know, but who went in there?
That's why I'm saying it'd be great. Yeah. No, I think it would be great.
Are you getting down?
Get down now.
Do you all do yoga by yourself? Most of you do it.
And I've done some Alexander.
The other
So I put them together.
I mean, I like it for men, but not for women. So many your exercise is not mechanical. It's got to be flowing, and not 1, 2, 1, 2. It's ridiculous. You should know your body. You should know your sternum is here, and your rhomboids are here, and your tightens your buttocks is often as you think, and your chin has to be in like this, because you have to be able to hold the book on your head and it doesn't fall. And if you go like that, it falls, and if you go like that, it falls. And when you look down when you walk, you should walk like this and look down with your arm, not with your head. Okay, wonderful. All right, shall we lie down?
I have an extra mat. Everybody has something?
Anybody else?
Are you?
Well, if you do it in the same direction that we are doing it, direction. Oh, the same direction. I'm sorry. I'll go a little higher. I can go a little higher.
Okay. No, it's on.
Ooh.
Whichever. I was trying to make room for one more.
One more.
The people who are in this section, do you mind the fact that I'm photographing?
What did you say?
Well, then put yourself someplace else if you don't want to be.
Yeah, Jane has to be here.
I'm going to share it with you.
Oh, she will be taking sections.
Come in.
Anyway,
I'll do it differently. Let's see if I.
So who has not exercised seriously in this group? I know many people have done yoga and Alexander, but who did not do anything except, I don't know, walking and running and things like that, but who hasn't gotten on the floor to do exercises?
Ever?
So that
Or
means you have.
regularly?
Well, no, just, did you ever lie down on the floor and do exercise? Well, that's wonderful. So you, I know, will do them every morning of your life. I'm sure. All right, let's start with number one, which is, the main thing is the locking of your hands, so that you cannot undo them unless you go like that. Then you can undo them. But you cannot undo them this way. And so the first one is knees together with your rhomboids contracting and elbows free and chin slightly in. And then you let go and take a deep breath. And you can rock move your knees like this, feel good. And then again, take a deep breath and exhale as you bring the knees to your chest and do your rhomboids and check on your elbows and check on your chin.
How do you do your rhomboids?
Well, the rhomboids with your brain, you concentrate right here where the muscle is. And you just think contracting and it happens without moving because your brain makes the contraction for you.
Just by thinking.
The main thing is that you understand the locking of the hand so that you don't go like that. Because then you're tense. And when you're holding, you're free, totally free. You see, totally free. That's very important. So your rhomboids are working, but you're free.
Some of us who are chubbier
But
are having trouble doing this. Keeping the hands closed over the belly. I mean, it's like,
oh, you mean they don't stay locked?
because there's too much belly.
No, you have to, let's see, you have to go like that in order for it to stay. You have to raise the elbows so that you go this way. You have to flatten your hands. Does anyone else have that difficulty of locking the hands? Like a chain? Well, you can practice on it, really. Eventually it'll be fine. You see, I'm holding with my big finger here, my forefinger, but I'm not holding, I'm free. My elbows are free, and chin in, and go as far as you can, gently. And then let go and kick your feet, take a deep breath, and up. Now, rhomboids, with your brain, not with anything else. Relax, take a deep breath. And last time, and up. Now hold, tighten. And go. Take a deep breath, and that's the last time. And wiggle your toes, wiggle your toes, wiggle your ankles, whenever you feel like it. All right, and now breathe. Put your elbows on the floor and the back of your hands. Now find a comfortable position. The ideal thing is like that, but sometimes hard. So get the position that you feel good in, and gradually you'll be able to do more and more, because it opens in front here and it closes in the back, and that's what you want. All right, and then exhale, push down the small of the back and tighten the buttocks. All right, and then now we do the number 3. No, let's see, number 2. Yes.
Number 2.
This is 3. 1, 2. So you anchor your knee and you go 1, 2 with a stretched knee. think of locking your knee. And with a locked knee and the rhomboids, which is moving your knee to your chest, you are doing the rotation of your ankle that you have to do every single morning of your life if you don't want to sprain your ankle when you stumble on something. And then inside. It is the most important thing for us is to take care of the ankle. One of the most important things. All right? And if you want to, you do that. And then down. And then the other side. Now, anchor with your rhomboids. You have to feel that you anchored your knee, and then you raise your leg. And then you stretch that, lock that left knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't bend the knee, don't bend the knee. Keep pushing the knee locked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And up. And down. And the breathing.
What is the purpose of bringing your knee to the forehead or your head up to the knee?
Well, it's just stretching. It's just a stretching. But if you don't have to force, you don't force. If you can, you do it. And if you have to force and it's not present, don't do it. Just go like this. You don't have to touch. But it's nice to bring the knee, your head to your knee. And last time.
Same thing again?
We do it twice each side, but we can do it only one. Now remember the rhomboids and elbows free. You have to check on yourself. You cannot do it without thinking or without doing what you know you have to do.
I don't understand the rhomboids at all.
Or you don't understand the rhomboids. Well,
No.
I'll explain to you. It's the muscle that brings the shoulder blades towards the center. It's only millimeters, it's not a big distance. But you have to, with your brain, think here and contract there. And you can't do it immediately, but you have to gradually get to do it. But if you understand what you have to do, you will do it. But you can't do it immediately. I mean, it'll take you maybe 2 months to understand the contraction of the rhomboid. But remember that it's chin slightly in and doing it with your brain, not with your shoulders. You're down, right? You're down here. And you're doing it with your brain. Because you're holding your knees, you cannot go like that. So you have, but it's something that you will learn if you believe in it, and if you don't believe in it, you will not learn. But if you believe in it, you will. I promise you. And the knees don't have to go all the way. You do whatever feels good for you, and gradually it'll get better. Don't think that you can do it like that in 1 minute. I mean, it will take a few weeks. But you can do it if you believe in it. All right? And then it's I'm starting to fall over again. And then it's the anchor. The number 4 is you anchor your knee to your chest and you stretch your leg and push the back of the knee down.
One leg.
Push the back of the knee and raise your toes.
On the floor.
Not the free foot, but
The
the
toes up
leg
to
that
the
is stretching. And push the
The one
back
that's
of
on
the
the
knee
floor,
down.
toes up
In
to
other
the
words,
center.
if you learn to push this back, you stretch your knee very well, and you can touch the floor with the back of the knee.
Then focus on
It takes time to learn anything, you know that. But I'm so eager for women to exercise correctly and to understand their body, and not to just move without understanding. And then when you breathe, and you've got to put the elbows down, this opens up in the front, and it closes the back. it tightens the back, which you want. You're not doing the rhomboids now because your arms are up and you're tightening, but you're not doing it as best as you can. But you are tightening. And so just remember, the knee is very close to you when you do that. Very close. And the rhomboids are working very hard. I mean, if I do like that with the ankles, I still hold my rhomboids. And this, you just do what feels good, only what feels good. And last time, we do that one last time. And would you like to do the sit-ups? Sure. Okay. Okay, so this is the last rhomboid, the last rhomboid holding the knee towards you and making sure that you're not tight with, not like that, and relaxed. Chin in, voila, and you have a breathing. And now we'll do the sit-ups. Remember, you do not detach your feet off the floor. You keep them down, and you just help yourself a little bit in the back of your thigh, just a little bit, and then you massage at the same time, and up. Good. And up. Very good. I notice the feet are down. And up. And up. Very good. You can, I know it's not easy to keep the feet down. It's not easy. But gradually, you know what you can do at home if you have problems with not keeping the feet down? You put your feet under, let's say, an easy chair or a piece of furniture. You put your feet, toes under, and so then you do it without moving the leg. And then eventually you do it without the furniture. But you have to find any ways of doing so that you can learn to control your body as much as possible. And then the stretches. So the stretches, yes, take. The first thing I do, I push the back of the knee just to the floor, and then I take my toes and I pull them towards me. Those toes, you've got to keep them very mobile, because if not, you'll get hammer toes later on and things like that. You've got to do the toes. And you put your thumb on the articulation, on the first articulation. Is it the second?
What's the
second.
articulation?
You put the thumb on your toe articulation.
Joint.
The joint, your toe. Your second, third, fourth, and you put your first here and then there and then there. You know, whichever you. Just think of mobility. Think of mobility, and that'll help. Like that, and then when you feel that you can, you go even further, but your back of the knees have to push down. And it is not important how much you do, as long as you do what feels good, and a little more every day maybe, but that's all. Don't try to do perfection, just what is good. It's good enough. And then, like this, you take a deep breath and you lean slightly back. And then forward, and you hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I didn't do the massage before, I don't think. You do the massage. You see, I massage my legs and my shoulders and everything myself. I never go to a masseur. I do it, and it's good for the hands. And it feels very good because you know just what you like to do. And then inhale. And now don't force and don't stretch too much at once your hamstring. So don't go down unless you can do it easily. And then massage after you do the stretch of the hamstrings. You want to, yeah. That's it. And then 2. I have many more, but I can't, there's no point teaching you too much because then you won't do anything. And so you just want to do, but the main thing is that you get down on the floor every morning of your life, even if it's for 5 minutes, because you can't do any more, you are in a hurry. Just 5 minutes, and you only do this. You only do this because you don't have time. And just that is enormous, believe me, for your lower back and for your posture. Because you're doing the rhomboids, remember? And that is very important for your posture. And then it's very important for your lower back. And then do the baby kicks, because that you can do just, remember it's throw the feet towards you and it's fold, unfold, fold, unfold. It's very little, it's very, you have to move this part of your foot. Yeah, fold, unfold, fold, always it folds here and unfold here. But that's it, very good, you understand? It's a wonderful exercise and children, babies do it for all day long. And I like to put my hands under my head. I find it very good for posture too. You're not doing the rhomboids now, it's not like that, it's hard to do. But the rhomboids, you just have to learn to feel it and pursue it. Not expect everything immediately, it's impossible. All right? So let's see. Ask me anything you want.
When you lean forward, and pointing the toe, and
Yes.
reaching for the toes,
Yes.
I found that my lower back was hurting me though. So maybe there's an
Well,
easier
you
way
should
to do
do it.
it, or
Well, then do it like that. To do your toes, do it like that. As long as you do your toes every day, that's the main thing. I do it like this only because at the same time I do the hamstrings. So I do it like that because I do it every day for the rest of 70 years or whatever. Remember? You just have to do it every day. It's not a question of doing a lot, it's a question of doing it every day and feeling what you do and thinking of what you do. It's a personal thing. It's not throwing your limbs around like Pilates, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's taking everything inside of you. Anyway, that's the way I feel about the body.
I have a question about, I have sciatica actually
Yes.
in one of my legs.
Well, the sciatica exercise is, this is a very good one. This one is a very good one for sciatica. And this one that I showed you, remember? This one, that's a pure sciatica exercise. I'll explain this in detail. When you go forward, you have a straight back. Then you bring your tummy in first, and then you drop your head. First, you bring your tummy in, and then you do the head. You don't do the head first. Look at me. 1, and then I don't have weight on my hands. 1, and then tummy, head. And then continue the rotation. And 1, tummy, head. It's almost instantaneous, but no weight on the hands. 1, tummy, head.
Just moving down and up.
And then reverse. 1, up. It's a lovely exercise. Put your hands inside. But it's only because it helps you to, I don't know, and it's nice looking.
can we do it sideways?
Sideways, like this, all right? You go forward, straight back, and then you go tummy in, head down. And you continue the rotation. And 1, and tummy in, head down. when you hold for balance, you know. But you're not leaning on it. There's no leaning on it.
Go down, head up, head up. Now, suck in your stomach and drop. Raise yourself, raise yourself.
And then sitting like this, you know, and then doing the rhomboids. That's a perfect place to do the rhomboids. Chin slightly in
Head
and
up.
do the rhomboids. You concentrate, your brain does it.
Drop, head,
And you will see that you can even do this and the rhomboids are holding. You'll train your rhomboids. Because when I feel people's back, the rhomboids, there's nothing there. Because most people don't know anything about the rhomboid, not even the name. They don't know. And it's so important because it's your posture. Terribly important. But you're very good, and I'm very pleased that you are here. So I will write down the 4 exercises and then stretches, which you know now what to do, how to do. Okay? We'll write on the board, and then if you see, maybe it'll help you, and if you have a piece of paper, you write it down.
Okay.
And maybe you'll memorize it. You know, you might be memorize.
Is there any printed version, or has it been recorded? I mean, I took notes, but I know when I get home, I'm going to be full of questions about my notes. Is there any source to consult when you're not here with us in the room?
Well, let's see. I made a video of my method.
Well, we have it right here, if I can reproduce it for everybody.
Did you photograph some of it?
Yeah,
Yes?
yes.
Good.
Also, it sounds like if you write it clearly enough on the board,
And
you
write it on
mentioned
the
that we
board,
would
and
email
then,
that
you
to
know,
each
when you
other.
see it written down, it really, you know, if you have a good visual.
But we could also then, someone else can take that notes and email that to each other.
That's it, exactly. Someone who has the pad will write it down, and then you can copy it. But remember, you can invent your own as long as you understand that you don't force, that you don't try to do wider. But what feels good will do you the most good. And the breathing in between, and enjoying. Whenever you exercise, it's not a repetition of yesterday. It's the first time of the rest of your life. Because it's a living thing. It's not on a screen, it's a living thing. And so every day you're breathing, you're stretching, and it feels good. It's your body.
Maia, yesterday or this morning, you were talking about the raising of the arms.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, yes, I said you must very often raise your arms and stretch. Very often. Not just once in a while. Not when you are working and reaching for something. Because when you are reaching for something, you're raising your shoulders. But to just raise your arms and think of the shoulders not raising. I mean, don't do that, of course. But just raise your arms. It feels so good to raise the arms. Raise them as vertical as possible. As vertical as possible. That's for your shoulder. Yes, you know, close. Like that. But you know, little by little, every day you do it, get involved with your body when it moves. And you know, it's so pleasant. Your body that you are moving. It should be a pleasurable experience. And it will be when you get to know them. And you can invent your own. Yes, you can do things with your neck and everything. I find that this is very important. And like that. Everything is important. And you do what you can and what you want. And have respect for your beautiful body that functions so miraculously for you. It's a miracle, you know, our body. Oh, you see, I have no knees. Can you believe that? I have no knees. In other words, my knee's okay when it's stretched.
that first one.
All right, the first one.
Is that correct?
Clasp your hands. That's very good.
So this is the wrong board.
This is the wrong voice because you have both. When you bring the knee to the forehead, you're not doing the wrong voice because you're leaning forward.
Okay, that's number one.
But yes, number one is close to, you bring them close to your
Where you bring it down with each breath.
no, you take a deep breath and then you exhale when you bring the knees to your chest. You exhale, then you relax, and then you inhale again, and then you bring them again to your chest. And I can write a thing to Jane, and she'll do that, and she'll copy it, and she'll give it to you.
Okay, so what I need is everybody who wants this to give me their email.
Anyway, I enjoyed very much showing you my work.